This is Mujtaba from Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College. Today I am here to present my learning report on practical aspects of construction management. So let's start. The things we'll discuss today are construction site safety, reading of drawings, sequence of construction, quality assurance and quality control, project planning and management, construction management, rate analysis, bar bending schedule, bill of quantities, formworks and finishes. So first, the construction site safety. Construction work is a hazardous land-based job. Some construction site jobs include building houses, roads, tree forts, workplaces, and repair and maintain infrastructures. This work includes many hazardous tasks and conditions such as working with height, excavation, noise, dust, power tools, and equipment. The most common fatalities are caused by the fatal four: falls being struck by an object, electrocutions, and being caught in between two objects. Construction work has been increasing in developing and undeveloped countries over the past few years. With an increase in this type of work, occupational fatalities have increased. Occupational fatalities are individuals who die on the job while performing work related tasks. Next, some of the reasons are the practices to improve the construction site safety are as follows. First is the scaffolding. So, during hazards can occur when scaffolds are not used properly. And next is the fall protection. Application scope and definitions. Consider using aerial lifts to provide safer working surfaces for elevated platforms. And next is the excavations. Never enter a trench that is unprotected. And further, the ladders. Avoid ladders with metallic components near electrical work and power lines. Next is the head protection. Use safety net systems or body harness. Next is the excavations requirements for protective systems. Use a protective system for trenches 1 foot deep or greater. And further is the hazard communication. To make information accessible to employees at all times in a language or formats. Further, the fall protection training requirements. Now, use an effective employee training program for hazardous substances. Further, construction, general safety and health provisions. Construction workers should wear work boots with slip resistant and puncture resistant soles. And last one is the electrical writing methods, design and protection. Check all the electrical tools and equipment regularly for defect. Next, we'll see the reading of drawings. So, what consists of in the drawings? Plan, sections, elevations, schedules, details. Inside is a drawing. And second is the title blocks. The title block is generally present at the bottom of the drawing sheet. The shape and size placement of the title block can vary. This area of the sheet contains important information about the project as well as the company. Above is a title block. There you can see the name of the firm, the title, and important information regarding the project. So the details like the copyright information, revision date, plan number, creation date, scale of the drawing, and sheet number can also be seen in the title block. Next is the good for construction stamp. The seal of good for construction is important for the approval or initiation of a construction project. So basically, if you don't get this stamp, then you can't start the project because there's been no approval or initiation. And next one is general notes. So the general notes eliminate the use of lengthy written explanations. It is a note that provides technical information that will apply to the entire drawing. It is provided easily. It is provided so that the plan can be easily understood by the site people. There will be no complications. So the examples for the notes of for foundation are: so all dimensions are in feet and inch. All dimensions should be read and not measured. Cube test details and etc. The fifth one is the legend. When learning to read how construction plans, one of the most important components is the legend. The legend is used to define the symbols in the drawing. So beside is a legend, there you will see the symbols which are used for various purposes. So example, cloud-like symbols are used for error and correction zone. And the sixth one is looking for abbreviations. Like symbols, abbreviations are also important in structural drawings. These abbreviations are used to determine shape, processes, and even dimensions of the components. So examples of the abbreviations are example like DP, which stands for depth, dia, which stands for diameter. Next, and the last one is the schedules. Some drawing sheets also consist of bar bending schedules, tables, along with structural member sections. It includes the details of a detailed BPS with bar diameter. Further is the sequence of construction. So first we get the drawing, we draw the footing layout, column center line layout, plinth beam details, and the architectural plan. And the next one is the marking of footing layout. The tools required for the marking of footing layout is marking thread, plumb bob, right angle, measuring tape. Third one is the excavation, manual or by machineries, and then we have to prepare the BBS. Fourth one is excavation up to PCC bottom, and then further arranging the materials and machineries which are going to be used for PCC, then arrange for the labors for PCC, and further laying PCC, and then the marking for footing and columns, and then the tying of reinforcement steel for footing and the shuttering for footings. After the shuttering is done, we have to pour the RCC for footing, and then starter marking, fixing, concreting, etc. Then further is the reinforcement for column from the top of footing to the plinth beam, only till the plinth beam level. Then the shuttering in columns from the top of footing to the plinth beam. Then pouring the RCC in columns from top of footing to plinth beam bottom. Then backfilling with consolidation. Further PCC for plinth beams, and then the tying of reinforcement for plinth beam and the shuttering for plinth beam. And as you have done the shuttering, then the RCC for the plinth beam, then the same procedure marking, fixing, and concreting for starter. After that, we have to do the reinforcement from columns from plinth beam level to the lintel level, and then the shuttering for columns from the plinth beam to the lintel level. The same RCC again for the columns, then the shuttering for lintel and sunshades, reinforcement for the lintel and sunshades, and then after the reinforcement has been provided, and then the RCC for lintel and sunshades, then the marking, fixing, and concreting for starter. And now, after the marking, fixing, and concreting for starter has been done, we have to provide the reinforcement for columns from lintel top to the ground floor beam bottom, then the shuttering for columns, and further again the RCC for columns. And after the column work has been done, now you have to start the shuttering for slab and the beam for ground floor. Then you have to provide the reinforcement for slab and beam for ground floor, then RCC for the ground floor slabs and the beams, then the marking course for block work, brickwork, including marking of door openings. So once the RCC for ground floor slabs and beams has been done, you have to start the marking for the block work. So the initiation of the brickwork is done. Then the clients will check, and then they raise the block work and brickwork up to the sill level of the window. And then we have to mark the window opening, and after marking the window opening, again raise the block work from sill level to the lintel level. Now raise the block work or brickwork from the top of lintel level to the roof beam bottom. And after the curing period of the block work is completed, start doing groove cutting for electrical and plumbing work. Fix the pipes for electrical and plumbing works. Fix the metal switch box for the electrical work. Fill the grooves with mortar. Fix mesh above grooves if number of pipes is more than 2. Then make the level pad for the ceiling and wall plastering. Fix all the wooden door and window frames, and ceiling plaster, and then wall plaster takes place. After curing period, flooring work is to be started, waterproofing inside the toilet, and after the flooring is completed, fix the door and window shutters. And after doing this, you have to start the outside plastering, and the terrace work has to be completed, and the interior painting is done, and the last the outside painting is done. Next, we'll discuss about quality assurance. So basically, what is quality assurance? Quality assurance are certain schemes which are implemented in construction in order to maintain the standard or the quality of the work in a consistent manner. So basically, they are implemented to maintain the standard of or the quality of the work throughout the certain project or throughout the work. The quality should not change. So the quality assurance forms the integral management system in a construction company. So the quality assurance plan will involve the following. It will offer training programs for worker and employees, efficient safety program, efficient procurement system to obtain quality resource and suppliers, reward schemes for innovative work, and last one, a competitive career program scheme. Next, we'll discuss about quality control. So, quality control in construction involves periodic inspection of the construction activities and facilities in order to meet the desired standardization as per the contract. So, in a quality control, there will be a periodic inspection, maybe in 20 days, 10 days, etc. For there will be a inspection on the construction activities and facilities in order to meet that the they are the what you call the activities and facilities are of the desired standardization as per the contract. The quality has not degraded. So the quality control focuses on setting and practicing specific standards for construction, determining the deviation from the standards, bringing and taking corrective measures to reduce the variation, and standard improvement with time. So what are the elements of quality? So the basic elements of quality in construction: quality characteristics, quality of design, quality of conformance. So there's the project planning and management. So project planning, what is project planning? Planning is the process by which the manager looks to the future and discovers alternative courses of action. A project plan should give details about the product, work, quality, and quantity, time scale, resources, cost and organization and monitoring and control. Below is a diagram of the key elements of successful project planning. So, what are the steps which are involved in project planning? So, first of all, identify the project objectives and components. So, basically, we have to first list out what are the project objectives, what are the objectives we want from the project. Then identify all the activities that will be required to complete the project, and identify the dependencies. Then produce the activity network, determine all the time that will be required and all the resources which will be required for the activities of the project, and then find out where we'll get the resources and what the resources will cost, and do the cost analysis. Further are the basic processes of project planning. First, the scope planning, and then the preparation of work breakdown structure, and the project schedule development, and then the resource planning, and the budget planning, and the procurement planning, risk management, and quality planning. So, what is project management? What is the aim of the project management? The aim of the project management is to successfully achieve the objectives of the project by completing it on schedule with the cost and performance criteria with prescribed human physical resource and other constraints. So, the main aim of the project management is to successfully achieve all the objectives they had set while starting the project. So, they have to achieve the objectives on schedule with the cost and the performance criteria. So, what is the principle of project management? Forward looking, made at the lowest feasible level, consistent with responsibility and authority, careful selection of project managers and project teams, and the authority should always match with project responsibilities at all levels. So, what are the three phases of management? Initiation and planning, execution, project monitoring and controlling, and project closing. Next, we'll discuss about construction management. So, the construction management is a professional service that uses specialized techniques to oversee the planning, design, and construction of a project from beginning to end. Next, it involves managing construction projects with a variety of available resources, labor, materials, capital, and also deals with the numerous local and federal regulations, as well as coordinating with the workers, contractors, architects, engineers, and various stakeholders. Last one, the construction manager is a person who takes in charge of the entire construction management process. Basically, the construction manager is responsible for everything because he has to take charge for the entire construction management process. So the role of construction manager, what are the roles the construction manager has to fulfill? He has to ensure that the availability and effective utilization of project resources. So what are all the resources that they have bought for the project? The role of the construction manager is that he has to check whether they have been effectively used or not. So next, to prepare and ensure approval of the all project plans, to monitor and control progress, performance quality and expenditure, to ensure safety standards and conformity to legal requirements, to serve as the prime point of contact for the project, to ensure establishment and operation of communication, information and reporting systems. Further, we'll discuss about rate analysis. So, the rate analysis is the determination of rate per unit area of a particular item of work from the cost of quantities of materials, laborers, and other miscellaneous petty expenses required for its completion is known as the analysis or rules. So, the rate of materials and labor vary from place to place, and hence the rates of different items of work also vary from place to place. So, next, what is the purpose of rate analysis? To work out the actual cost of items per unit. Economical use of materials are not provided in the contract bond but are to be done as per the directions of the client. To revise the schedule of rates due to increase in the cost of material and labor or due to the change in technique. Next, we'll discuss about the bar bending schedule (BBS). So, the bar bending schedule, commonly referred to as BBS, is a comprehensive list that describes the location, mark, type, size, length, number, and bending details of each bar or fabric in a reinforcement drawing of structure. So, BBS is very important. In that, there will be all the details about the bar bending, like the location, where the project is taking place, the mark, the type, the size of the bars, the length of the bars, and how many bars are required, and all the bending details and etc. The process of listing the location, type, and size number of all and other details is called as scheduling. In context of reinforcement bars, it is called as bar bending schedule. In short, bar bending schedule is a way of organizing rebars for each structural unit, giving detailed reinforcement requirements. So below is an example of a bar bending schedule. There you can see the project name, the drawing number, the bar number, what is the bar shape, what is its length, what is its dia, what is the spacing, and what is the cutting length, and how many numbers of bars is required. the document number, the date, the engineer, and who has approved the project, his name, and what is the total length required, the unit weight, and the total reinforcement weight in kgs. Further, the guidelines to be followed while preparing the BBS. The bars should be grouped together for each structural unit, example beams, column, and etc. In a building structure, the bars should be listed floor by floor. So all the details should be listed floor by floor, or else they'll be mixed up. For cutting and bending process purposes, schedules should be provided as separate A4 sheets and not as part of the detailed reinforcement drawings. The form of bar and fabric schedule and the shapes of bar used should be in accordance with the BS 866. It is preferable that the bar should be listed in schedule in numerical order. It is essential that the bar mark reference on the label attached to a bundle of bar refers uniquely to a particular group or set of bars of defined length, size, shape, and type used in the job. This is imperative as a bar mark reference can then point to a class of bar characteristics. Also, this helps steel fixers and labelers to keep track of the type and number of bars needed to complete a certain work. Further, we'll discuss about the Bill of Quantities. A Bill of Quantities, or commonly known as BOQ, is a document prepared by a quantity surveyor or cost consultant to define the quality and quantity of works required to be carried out by the main contractor to complete a project. So basically, a quantity surveyor will write a BOQ, and further he will pass it out to the main contractor to complete a project. A Bill of Quantities also provides the main contractor with the measured quantities of works as identified on the project drawings and specifications. So, what is the main purpose of a BOQ? So, the main purpose is to standardize the process for tendering contractors to prepare a firm cost to carry out the works, to provide a fair and accurate method for tendering contractors to price the project using the same information, allow the employer's consultants to carry out a tender analysis whereby they can compare both the overall cost received and individual priced items with other tender offers. Last is enable either the quantity surveyor or the contract administrator to confirm that the individual contractors have submitted bona fide tenders compliant with the tender. So during the construction period, the BOQ can assist the design team by helping to determine the agreement of the contract sum with the successful tender, identifying a schedule of rates for individual work items to assist with costing variations, providing the basis of identifying works completed for interim variations, providing the basis for the preparation of the final account. It is important that a BOQ is prepared to a standard methodology recognized by everyone involved in the project to avoid any misunderstandings or ambiguity. So basically, when there is a misunderstanding in a project, so the BOQ is a very standard document, so it can be used to avoid any misunderstandings. The BOQ is also a valuable document during the process and settlement of any disputes. So the disputes can also be solved because it is a valuable document. Next, we'll discuss about the formworks. The formwork is a mold including all supporting structures used to shape and support the concrete until it attains sufficient strength to carry its own weight. It should be capable of carrying all the imposed dead and live loads apart from its own weight. The formwork has been in use since the beginning of the concrete construction. New materials such as steel, plastic, and fiberglass are used in the formwork. But the formwork is commonly made up of steel and timber. Besides the figures of formworks, so, what are the requirements of a good formwork? First, it must be capable to withstand all types of dead and live loads. It is practically good to have waterproof character so that it won't absorb water from concrete. So, the entire frame formwork should be rigidly constructed and propped so that there should be no deformation in the shape and it should retain its original shape. So, basically, the formwork should be rigidly constructed. So, after pouring the concrete and after the concrete has retained its strength, when we remove the formwork, the concrete should retain its original shape. There should be no deformation. Deflection and shrinkage should be minimum. The joint should be tightly enough to minimize the leakage of cement grout. The formwork should be constructed with different segments, so while removing the formwork, it should not damage the concrete. The material of the formwork should be cheap, easily available, and should be suitable for reuse. The formwork should be set accurately to the desired line and level should have plain surface. It should be as light as possible so that it is easy to transfer and erect. The material of the formwork should not wrap or get distorted when exposed with other elements. The formwork detail for different structural members. In concrete, construction formwork is commonly provided for the following structural members. So for the following structural members, the formwork is available. The wall, column, slabs and beams, stairs, chimneys, water tanks, and cooling towers. You can see the examples of the different formworks used for different structures. Lastly, we'll discuss about the construction finishes. The finishes are used in the final part of a construction or manufacturing process, forming the final surface of an element. They can protect the element they finish from impact, water, frost, corrosion, abrasion, and so on and on. They can be very decorative. Next, finishes commonly relate to internal surfaces, but they can also be applied to external elements. They can be applied wet or dry. Some elements are self-finished, that is, the final surface is part of the material the element is formed from. Next, the application of finishes may involve the buildup of more than one layer, which, while some of the layers will form the final exposed surface, they are nonetheless considered to be finishes. For example, an undercoat or primer might be applied to a wall before the final paint. So, what are the types of construction finishes? The different types are flooring, painting, masonry work, plastering, and joinery. First, we'll discuss about flooring. Flooring is the general term for a permanent covering of a floor or for the work of installing such a floor covering. Floor covering is a term to generically describe any finished material applied over a floor structure to provide a walking surface. Both terms are used interchangeably, but floor covering refers more to loose laid materials. So some of the materials that can be used for flooring are carpet, laminate tile, and vinyl. Next is painting. Painting is the practice of applying paint, pigment, color, or any other medium to a solid surface called the matrix of support. The medium is commonly applied to the base with a brush, but other implements such as knives, sponges, and airbrushes also can be used. So, what are the different types of painting? Below, beside, you can see the different types of painting. So, some of the different types of painting are the oil bound distemper, plastic emulsion painting, royal silk painting, oil emulsion painting, the wallpapers, and the textured painting. Next, we will discuss about masonry work. Construction work performed during the erection of stonework on buildings and structures made of natural and artificial masonry materials is referred to as masonry work. So the masonry work is a complex of processes that include, in addition to the basic process, the laying of brick or other stone and mortar, the delivery and laying out of the stone, and the smoothing of the mortar. Related auxiliary process, the erection of scaffolding and trestles and preparation of the materials at the construction site also includes in the masonry work. So what are the different materials required during masonry work? Solid and hollow concrete masonry blocks, cement, sand, damp-proof cores, steel masonry, accessories, head ties, lateral ties, etc., cement-based, non-shrink grout, etc. Next is the plastering. The plastering is the way smooth walls were constructed in order to cover a rough textured substrate wall. Historically, it was made by slaking lime in water and adding sand, gypsum, and fibers, usually horse or some other animal hair. The slurry sets up with time, so the mix had a working life where it could be smoothed by trowel or into the wall. It could also be cast into decorative moldings, which could be applied as cornice moldings, which were affixed using the slurry as glue. Also, several techniques were used to apply decorative patterns, usually on ceilings. So, what are the purpose of plastering? It attempts to make the wall monolithic. It increases the strength of a wall, increases the durability and life of a wall, increases the soundproof, prevents the penetration of water from one side to the other, gives an aesthetic look. So the different types of plastering are the lime plastering, gypsum plastering, and cement plastering. So the gypsum plastering does not require any curing and it can only be used in the rooms. The cement plastering can be done in the toilets, kitchen, etc. So last we'll discuss about joinery. So basically the joinery is a part of a woodworking that involves joining together pieces of wood or lumber to produce more complex items. Some wood joints employ fasteners, bindings or adhesives while other only use wood elements. So below is the figures of the different types of doors that can be used. So the types of doors are timber, wood doors, batten and ledge doors, frame and panel doors, flush doors, glass doors, steel doors, PVC doors, fiberglass doors, fiber reinforced plastic doors, aluminum and bamboo jute composite doors. So this is the end of my presentation, and I'm really thankful to Ashok sir, Deepa ma'am, Shweta ma'am for giving me this opportunity to study in this institute. It was a great experience. I'm also really thankful to Suresh sir Natarajan sir, Sandesh sir, for giving me some great knowledge and sharing their wonderful experiences with me. Thank you, each and everyone. Thank you.